Fry, Kristi, thank you so much for being on the show. It's exciting to have you.
Awesome. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And this is our first official time doing an interview. So we're all going to like figure this out together.
I know, I'm so excited.
It's a long time, and I'm nervous.
I feel like you guys are the perfect first couple for us to interview too, because we just barely got engaged in Maui. And your whole brand, Naked Pineapple, was that influenced from Hawaii?
Yes, it was definitely part of it. So we have always loved Hawaii and we've gone there and we love like going to the pineapple dole factory and everything. And then we saw this super cute little cafe called the Fried Pineapple.
The fried fryo?
It was like the fried free pineapple. And I was like, babe, we should create like a cafe or like something. And they were like, no. And, you know, we always are like these big dreamers and we have all these ideas. And we were like, well, what if we did like a skincare line? And I, got out of my corner because I'm a master esthetician and I work with clients all day, every day. I'm basically a therapist, right?
Yeah.
And, he's like, I'm bored. I need someone to play with. Can you please like get out of your corner all the time? I'm like, well, we're going to have to figure something else for me to do if you want me out of my corner. So we developed Naked Pineapple, and Hawaii was just our inspiration in regards to like using pineapples in all of our products and having it just be like something fun and bright and bold. And so that's kind of where
It was our secret word as well. That's where the cliché. Yeah, it was like it's a safe word. It was like pineapple was our safe word, and so we did a full set. And we now in business. Uni.
we started, getting out of line or, started to get like a little huffy and puffy at me for no reason. I'd be like, baby, pineapple. And you'd be like, okay, I brought us back to some.
I love that. We have a safe word too. Ours is actually unbelievable.
What is it? We do. Well, we met in Colombia, and the retreat center was called Amawasi, and so that's our But usually, it's like Amawasi. It's like, shh, stop talking. Yeah. Usually, it's me when I'm talking too much. Yeah, is the phrase.
That only happens a few times.
Yeah. So let's chat about you two. One, I think what was just shared in that little opener tells me a lot about you two. You went from seeing a cafe to having the belief to say, we could build a cafe, to no, let's start a full-scale skincare company, right?
Well, let's be honest.
Where does that kind of belief come from?
Okay, the belief is this: when your wife has a dream, and you're gonna learn this really quick, huh? When your wife has a dream, you instantly have a dream, and so she has been, like she said, a master esthetician. But I'd watched her build this incredible spa called Gratitude by Spa, which she still runs, and she's 4 months booked out, which I love, but at the same time, we called it she's always in her corner. And she just has this rotating group of clients that just love her, and rightfully so, right? But at the same time, our life is going crazy with all of our different kids and different schedules, and I'm kind of moving into a semi-retired state where I'm like, well, I want my buddy. Like, I want to go and watch a movie at 1 PM. It's something, right? But we realized really quickly that one, that was going to burn out eventually. I mean, she was getting exhausted. That was a 23-year build for her. And so we were looking for things that we wanted to collectively do together, honestly. Like just to be able to be together outside of just juggling kids and kind of a home and what that meant. Like there got to be, we were a little out of balance with, I believe, with that, where it was just strictly kids, and not us privately in our own relationship, but then also being a part of something that we can sink our teeth in collectively and just go for it. Yeah, full send, let's try it, let's do it. But she's very knowledgeable. So it gave me a lot of security to be like, we're not just trying this skincare out of left field. I mean, she lives it, breathes it for the last 23 years, always pushing other people's products. And we just thought, let's do our own, like, let's figure this out. And there's a lot of amazing stuff behind the name Naked Pineapple that I'll let her talk about.
Yeah.
That brings it together. It's not the swinging that we always see. Kind of stuff. I didn't realize, whoa, Naked Pineapple, where are we going with this? And we had one of our influencers. She's like, look, it's going to go 2 ways. Either I'm going to get really good skin, or I'm going to be a swing at the end of this. I don't know. I was kind of as scared of that in some ways, where I'm like, we got to protect this brand. And it's been fun to just kind of see where it's gone. But when people really, truly know the truth behind the name, it's moving and it's touching, and we've got a really big vision for AI.
Well, let's start there. We're on the company topic, so we'll get to kids, we'll get to your family life, and you can give us some advice here in a bit because we're open for it, we're looking at for it, right? But let's talk about your decision to say, like a lot of couples feel like, oh, when you do business together, when you work together, that's like scary, don't go there. We're diving into that a little bit of like doing a podcast together and creating. Like earlier when we did our first episode, it was like, how's our chemistry going to be in this, right? We know how it is in life. So how has that gone? And what made you have the courage to say, let's do it?
I feel like in life, especially with having the dynamics that we do have, blended family, we're both entrepreneurs, communication is huge. And it's so hard to have enough communication because we're just kind of like these two sailboats on the ocean, like every single day, like, hey, cool, high five, yep. Anyways, next, like, it's really hard to even have the ability to communicate. So when we talk about business, I'm like, hold on, whoa, whoa, whoa. Before you start, do you got your husband hat on or do you have your business hat on? Because I need to know, because he'll offend me or he'll say something really harsh. I'll be like, whoa, you didn't even prep me for which hat you had on. Like, because if your husband hat's on, then I get to yell at you like a wife, right? But if your business hat is on, then I can be like, I got you, I'll take care of it, no worries.
That's actually really amazing advice. I think we should do that too.
It could be confusing. It could be confusing where she's yelling at me like, well, I got the husband. I'm like, whoa, I got the business hat on right. My bearded dog was a husband. So I get to play that both ways, but we really have had to figure that out because it's no joke. When you're in business together, you really have to over communicate. And there are certain things in business that are business driven. It's very unemotional with regards to that. When you're talking to your wife or your husband, like that is emotion, right? To where there's a little bit more black and white when you have the business hat on. And sometimes we blurred those lines where it can become very frictional. And so we've done a really good job, I feel, of really trying to collapse that and really identifying and really framing out the ability to say, hey, I'm not coming at you as a husband right now and the emotions with it. We just have to make a really solid, sound decision for the business. The reason we're doing business together is so that we can have a beautiful retirement and live life. And we're not looking at this, at least we've talked about it. We're not leaving this to the kids and all that kind of stuff. We just wanted to create something collectively that we're super proud of, that has a massive impact on the world. And then we'll exit out of that within probably 5 years. And so it can be very difficult because what's hard is like you bring that home, right? When at home, that's your safe place, that's your refuge from the world. And so when you're bringing that in, but you're always with it, it's hard to get away from it, even on date nights. We can't talk about business, can't talk about this, we can't talk about religion, we can't even talk about politics. Yeah, it's a long, quiet dinner. Also,
Yes. But I love what Bree said. Like, there's going to be highs and lows, and I think it's learning how to not react to the highs and lows, whether they're high or low, and just learning to observe and be from a place of like understanding and compassion and hearing. And you never know what people are going through. Even my own husband, at times, I'm like, ooh, okay, like it's my turn to step up and choose in and just listen and not have to always fix the problem or try to have a solution or an answer. Like, I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Like, we're here to be best friends. And it's really important to remember that in a relationship, that I'm like, I don't have to fix whatever you're going through. I just get to make sure that you know that I got you, So,
yeah.
Just a good job, trail.
She does a good job because it really, before we started this, honestly, we have committed to our marriage. Your marriage has to stay the priority, not business. Because if the business is going to affect the priority of marriage and the success of it, like you say, right off on the sunset and leave this beautiful kind of legacy or whatever you're wanting to leave, that has to be at the forefront. And we've really made it a point to make sure, like, hey, the high priority is the marriage, not you, not me. It's the marriage. And sometimes we've gotten really frictional with our business where it's like, we're in it. And all of a sudden you snap above it to say, this is not why. I don't care if I made from $500 million. If I lost my wife, what's the point? What, like, like, what's the point? You know, and I think we've all, if you've gone through life, like your parents, you talk about your parents all the time. We've had these conversations in Africa and all over. You know, I would imagine if you were to ask both of them what has been their priority, it has been the marriage above anything and everything. I'd rather live in a box with my wife and a mansion, a land. And we really focus on that, making sure that the marriage is the priority. If we're successful in business, great. Let's talk about that and be a part of that. And we're super grateful to the benefit of what that could be. Like we have our VP here, and we get to affect a lot of people's lives and us being in creation mode together. But our marriage is the first and foremost.
Yeah, I love that. So with marriage being a priority, let's talk about how did the two of you meet? When did you know? Give us a little bit of that background.
I've been waiting for this story.
So many. I didn't even know the real version. Go ahead.
I'm out of here for Prissy.
So I started aesthetics when I was 18 years old, and I worked at a day spa in Draper. And, you know, look at this locks of hair. He has crazy hair all over the place. And so
I've known him for a year, and he's had like 7 different looks. He walked in today. I'm like, who are you?
yeah, welcome to my red, right? I never get bored. So it's one of those things where my cute friend was his hairstylist, and she was like, whoa, like I can cut your hair, but like your eyebrows are taking the main show, you know? So you need to make sure then go see my girl, Kristi. And so I was like, okay, perfect. Like, thanks, Tess, you know? And we always talk about Tess as like who introduced us.
Okay.
But we love it.
Tess too. Her name is Ayers.
It's like one of those things where I turned the corner to go pick up my client for his eyebrow wax, and we locked eyes, and I was like, ah, shit. That's someone that I have chemistry with, that I love. Like, he's gonna be in my life forever, out no matter what it looks like.
Do you think you could just feel it like energetically?
It was like a lightning bolt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think we both knew it. I mean, for sure. And it wasn't in this passionate, romantic, version.
No,
It's
just gotten married.
that's a person.
This is
who's like,
different.
"Oh,
Yeah, I just got married. He just got divorced.
So you had just got
Yeah, you did do that.
I did not know this part of the story.
Yeah, I had just got married or engaged or something along those lines. I mean,
Some like
Give or take.
oh, mind you, it's 23 years ago, you know, so I can't remember exactly the timeline, but I remember he was talking about his divorce, like as the client, and I was like talking about, just getting married. And so then we just kind of became friends, and we had a very professional friendship, and we would tell each other everything. I'm a therapist all day, every day, so I heard all the ins and outs of his
that is
chaotic life.
this way to get to know
We have been best friends for 15 years before we got married.
We double dated.
Yes, I didn't do that.
Really?
Yeah, best
Yeah.
friends.
Yep. So when my babies were born, he came over and held my babies, and like he even babysat Journey a couple times. And then when Jagger and Lake, like we had the same doctor, like I would go into my doctor appointment, and him and Courtney would be there, and so it's just one of those things where we just were friends, and we created a bond and a trust and a strength, and we knew what we were getting into when we first started dating. So then, I mean,
So fast forward. Yeah, so it says there are a few other details.
So I'll tell you why. She had been such an amazing, my best friend, honestly. She knew everything from my 30s were horrendous. I mean, life on me in a way that I'd never thought it would, with custody and kids and so forth. And so she was with me during that whole thing as a friend. She knew every darkness that I've gone through with regards to what that looked like. And so come fast forward when we finally got to a place where she had gotten divorced, and I remember getting that call, like, I think that's the road I'm headed down. And we talked about that and so forth, but we were still great friends. And so we knew we had chemistry, but never had gone in that direction with it, right? Because my thought was, I don't want to lose my best friend.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Like hoping on a prayer that this would work, because if it doesn't work, I lose both, right? But then at the same time, I'm sitting here going, if I never explored that, like I would kid myself. And so it was just kind of this really intense moment for me. Maybe not for her, but for me, it was scary because I didn't ever want to see the crying, right? Like it was a really intense moment because I knew how important she was in my life, regardless of how she fit into my world. And so we went full send, and we have look back since, and that's been what, almost
10 years, yeah.
10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been quite the journey, just the experience of it all. And, we even worked together prior at another company called Rain International, where we were both like speaking on stages, and I was the educator for their skincare line.
Wow.
Yeah, he was traveling the world. I mean, he was gone all the time. And so I don't know. I honestly don't know how we got here.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, a lot of I'm very stubborn. So if I have something in mind, I'm going to make it work no matter what.
Were you afraid to commit to each other after your experiences in your past relationships?
I would say yes, and I'll tell you why. Is because there was so like if we had longer segments to know like kind of my whole, I've got 5 beautiful children. So I have 4 daughters and 1 son, and with 2 different women. I was married to the first, my former, and we had 3 beautiful daughters that are 24, 21, and 20. And then I had a partner where we had 2 children, but we never married. And so that's who Kristi knew, and so forth. And so that was a very chaotic time in my life. There was a lot of addiction with regards to my partner and what she chose, and I have full custody of my children, and she assisted me with all of that. And I mean, it just was a really difficult, from being behind with taxes, being behind with child support, the supplication of what the system does with regards to men. It's since changed a little bit, but back 20 years ago, it was really a tough road for any single father with regards to that. And then 2 of them were out of state because Courtney is from Seattle. So fighting, the court systems up in Seattle and then bringing it to Utah and having that whole thing back and forth, it just was really daunting for me as a father, but I knew I'd never give up. And with regards to that, there was a lot of trauma, that you don't want to come into a new relationship, especially your best friend, and bleed on that relationship. And then you have a lot of ego that's a part of that, where I was like, I'm fine. I've cleared all that up, all the trauma and stuff. I'm over it. And all of a sudden you'd see it bleed out now that you are a blended family, because now it's not just my children. It's now she's got 2 beautiful kids, Journey and Jet, that are now 14 and 10. And yeah, we've done a tremendous amount of work. I can't even tell you how much work we've done collectively as individuals, as a couple, and as a blended family. Even our kids, from counseling, them choosing into it and why. And we've really blended, but it's not an overnight thing. It's been work for all of us. But I think what we've done great as a family is we've trusted the work that we're doing, and we see the fruits it will take. And sometimes we remind ourselves of it, right? Like some of the kids will remind us, some of the kids will remind each other. Because we have 4 of them at home right now.
And they'll call him dad and they call me mom.
That's so sweet. I was going to ask, do you consider all children yours?
Yeah, 100%. I think you have to. Yeah. If you don't, there will be friction. And we call them our raptors. Like they're little raptors. Jurassic Park. You know Jurassic Park?
Scary.
They creep me out.
They always will, no matter how she did it.
Right? But they're worth it. But it's interesting, if you watch Jurassic Park, there's a scene where the 3 little baby raptors, and they're kind of in that pen, and they keep testing the fence. But what do they test it? They're testing the barrier, but also the weakness of that fence. Right? And the weakness, they'll find the weakness and they will expose it. And so if there's weakness between us, within seconds or within a day, they will recognize it, they'll poke it, they'll prod it.
They're smart.
They're super smart. And so we've really stayed really focused on one aspect, fortifying the fence to where they know that we're super strong, that we come, not before them, but our relationship, the marriage is the priority. Because if we fail, they fail just by default, right? They have to pick up the pieces. They have to live through some of that wreckage that we can't seem to figure out, right? And with that, it gave me a lot of perspective and sense of alignment. If there is a weakness, we get to work on it, and then that way they feel strengthened in regards to that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they will find it, and they will do it, and every single day they're testing that fence to see where it's weak. So when we're frictional and we're fighting and so forth, man, it causes chaos all the way down in the two dogs.
Do you
It's true.
do you have full custody of your baby?
We're actually doing a 50-50 right now, and it's not legalized yet, but that's what's been working for us. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes like that's what another dynamic that is just constantly learning and growing. And as children, right, they're constantly changing. So as soon as we're like, okay, we got this, we're in the rhythm of it, it's like wham, you just get like whacked in the face of like, well, one of them grew out of that stage, and now we have to adapt and you create something else, you know? So
But even exes, like exes, we had a really good relationship with her ex, where he'd come over for birthdays. He was a part of the family. If I wasn't there, he could walk in and grab Jet and help him get his shoes. I mean, it was a really good co-parenting situation.
oh wow, that's new.
And then he met a partner and married her, and that instantly changed.
it's always changing. It's just constantly changing and evolving, and kids are constantly changing. Like what worked when my babies were 3, it now isn't working. You know, like they're teenagers and it changes and they're growing and they're doing sports and they want to be with their friends. And so it's been a lot of different dynamics. With having full custody of Jagger and Lake, that was a whole nother whirlwind of itself. Like when we first started dating, he didn't have any of his kids. So it was like I got him all to myself for the first 2 years of us dating. And, you know, we wanted the kids and we, of course, had Journey and Jet 50% of the time, you know. But I'll never forget the day that I got a phone call from him. And I was in yoga teacher training, actually. Oh my God, thank the Lord above. I was in yoga teacher training because it assisted me mentally and emotionally so much. But he was like, babe, we got to fly and get the kids in Seattle. And they were 3 and, or no, Jet was 3, Journey was 7, Jagger was 8, and Lake was 7 or 6. And he was like, we got to go pick them up. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? He was like, we need to go get them. Like, they're not in a good place. And they were actually being neglected. And we were getting calls like from the school. And it was like a monumental moment where it was the most self-sacrificing thing I've ever done in my life, you know. And Journey and Jet were in on it too. And we just, I mean, we did. We all got behind them and we went and picked up Jagger and Lake and checked them out of school with what was on their backs and brought them home. And I was deemed full-time mom overnight.
Oh my gosh.
And we've had them for about 7 years now. So
Yeah.
that was a pretty cool thing that we've overcome, you know, and saving these 2 beautiful kids. And they're thriving. I mean, all of our kids are thriving and doing so well. And so when we're on, it's like, it's unstoppable. Yeah. And when that's the high, right? And then when it's low, I'm like, pineapple. Pineapple.
You know, I think you could look at your story from the outside and be like, wow, that's messy. You could give it that title. There's a lot going on there. It's messy. It is. Tell me why it's worth it. And why, like, obviously I can see from the emotion between the two of you, but why is it okay to choose messy?
Well, to be honest, I don't know if we actually have a choice. Like a lot of times, I didn't have a choice. You created the mess, so you have to be accountable to the mess and be responsible. And so I've always thought, like, how do I stay accountable with the stewardship that I have with my kids and navigate this treacherous water that I'm unfamiliar with, right? But at the same time, every time that I was like, life was just dealt this to me, that's when it became a struggle for me. That's when I didn't make any sense. No matter how I looked at it, I'd change it on a Rubik's Cube and it didn't even make sense. But when I became accountable, like, hey, you created this. You created every little square inch of this that you're now facing. But the beautiful thing is you created it and you built it. You also get to know how to dismantle it because you built it. And so we've done a really good job of dismantling the chaos of what that actually brings and what that brought. She was instantly a full-time mom, where she sees her kids now 50-50. Mine are from out of state. Hers are 1.5 mile up the road. And she struggles with that, you know, and that's a friction point to where we have ours full-time, where she doesn't get a break. I never get a break. And so you got to navigate through those. And there's times where I don't know how far I have to go back on her to where I have to connect all the dots to say that's when this that I'm dealing with, that's when that started. Because sometimes it seemed nippy. Like I can't connect enough dots to go back to and be like, okay, this is why this is in my life. I just accept it, and then knowing that I have a really powerful wife, and we've created this, we've chosen in as a plate, it hasn't always been like this, to where the marriage is the priority above me and above her. And there's stuff that we deal with in our personal lives that might cause unsafety. And so we get to really over communicate. She over communicates way more than I do. I have a tough time communicating. I usually just flee, give me 2 or 3 days to process.
He'll be like, no, I told you that. Like, no, you had a conversation with your.
She wants to fix it right now. And I'm like, this is not going to go well. I know how.
Yeah, I'd say we're the opposite. Usually when something happens, he's the one who wants to fix it right there. And I'm like, I need some time to process because we could talk again. But what I realize is if I tell him like, hey, I'm going to come back to you, but give me an hour, then he's totally good.
Clip out.
Yeah. It's like, I need a week. I'm like, honey, you don't get a week. You get 1 hour. See, a week is a little bit long.
It is, and it has been. And I think we've worked even on that to where it's like, hey, honey, I need 3 hours, or I need tomorrow.
Yeah. And how has it been with you stepping into a father figure in regards to, that's something that you've longed for. And, it's really nice when you have connection with the children. I couldn't imagine not having a connection and being put in that role.
Yeah. So, it's interesting when we started dating early on, like a few weeks in, I'm like, look, I'm not going to date just you because you have 2 kids. One of them isn't here with us physically, but I'm taking on Romeo and all of that too, right? And why? Because I love you, right? Like I'm with you, so all the, and then the same thing with Amara. Very different impacts of what those 2 kids mean to us in our life, but all in on both, right? And so from the beginning, they had 50-50 custody, or she had 50-50 custody, and I told her, I'm like, I'm not just gonna hang out with you when you don't have Amara, right? This can't just be you have a weekend off, let's go have fun, and then you can get back to real life. It was like, we got to do all of it. And so I think for us, this first year plus, it's been a huge blessing, the 50-50, because it's allowed us to be able to experience the one-on-one time. We built this relationship. We've been able to go on trips and do fun things and have date nights and all that.
Been really helpful.
Yeah, and at the same time, we have family life too, and we experience that, and all in on both, right? And I think listening to your story, it's like you prioritize each other, but you're all in on all of those aspects, right? There might be priorities, but you're all in. And so I think that's how it's meant.
And you have to have your marriage be the priority, or else other things just become unbalanced. Right. Because if we're the priority and we have a solid foundation, then we can build anything on it. But the second that we're starting to like break or crack or get overwhelmed or at each other's throats is really when it kind of starts to crumble.
Do you tell that to your kids too? Like, do you let them know the marriage is the first priority, then they come next? Or how do you kind of word that with the kids?
We've actually had a lot of family time where we sit down and talking stick type stuff, and everyone gets to share their emotions. Because even down to the little 8-year-old, he's got his own emotions and his own things that he deals with, and he's now 10. But I think we've done a really good job as a family to let each other speak and share how we feel ultimately. And that is a very important part for our family.
Oh my gosh. And it's terrible too. Like, my kids will come and tell me something, and then his kids will go tell him something. And we are like, this is like, we are together. It is not like dynamic. Like as soon as, shit hits the fan, like, I'm taking my kids and you're taking your kids, and it just can't be that way. And it gets there really easily. Like when you're emotionally just like, heated, and, it takes a lot of self like reflection to be able to say like, okay, if this was like a child that I gave birth to, or a child that you donated to, would I really feel like this bothers you much? And the answer is no. Like most of the time, like it's probably no. I probably wouldn't be as bothered if it was, and it just takes constant self-reflection and having the ability to like take a step back and not immediately react. is really what I feel like has assisted me anyways.
I would say that because Bree, you asked a really good question. It's like, even let's take down the discipline, right?
Yeah.
Like, do I discipline her kids? Does she discipline mine? And it's interesting. She disciplines all, but I love it because I have come to that point where I trust her definitely, right? Like, why would I be married to someone that I don't fully 100% trust? And but I'm like, hey, you can't. I love you for this, and I trust you for this, but this is out of boundaries. You can't discipline my children, because she deals with the day to day. I mean, the mother, that feminine side of things, my kids need. They don't have that with their, you know what I mean? So she feels that, but if I trust her discipline indefinitely, and I always ask myself, what is she disciplining them for, and why is she disciplining him? And I always I ask myself this: if this was their real mother giving him the same advice, would I be okay with it? And literally 99 out of 100 or 99.99%, absolutely, it's spot on. And so that's really assisted me because there are times you do get to be a father bear and mama bear. Whether you think you're doing it or not, it comes out. You'll have a little bit of mama bear over some stuff. I promise you, with your little girl.
Already.
Where when you guys have your own, it will be a little different, but you work through that. It's not the feeling of what's different and like how I look at Jet and Journey, which are her kids. I view them the same way, just like they're my own son. I talk to them that way. I hold them to the same standard. It's not any different.
I think that's super important.
Super important. But here's the difference for us, just for our situation. Their mother is completely out of the situation. They see her probably twice a year. With her kids, their dad is very involved, and he's a great dad. And so that becomes a different role for me. I don't have to be their dad. I just get to be that strong, masculine example for both of them from a female standpoint to also, his point, Jet's side of a male. And so those are things that we get to work on all the time. That's why our situation, our relationship is so intricate. This would crush 1,000 out of 1,000 relationships. So here we go.
That's why you're here. But let's
Maybe really strong.
I thought the confidence in that. For real though.
And it would. And it wouldn't be because both people are great people. I mean, life can crush on you really tough way, especially with blended families.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think for sure, like I admire your guys' relationship, and just the situation that you have been through and the trauma, and trauma is real, I mean, trauma creates so many different emotion, and sometimes I don't even know what's wrong, right? But then, I've lost a lot of people in my life, and it's been really hard and really challenging, and it's hard on everybody, right? And so it's like having the patience and the compassion and the ability to just not take things out on each other, or recognize like when I am taking it out on somebody else, when it's really not them, it's me, and I just might not know how to process it at the moment. And so self-development has been something that we're both really good at, and I work a lot on self-development and being able to teach kids and talk to you guys and talk to friends and even talk with him, and sometimes I even tell him, I'm like, honey, I know you better than you know yourself.
It's true. But I always reflect it as I'm not your project. Just in that I'm like, oh, this ain't.
Oh, I love that. Well, obviously there's so much we could go into in an interview like this, but I want to ask first to you, Kristi, like what we use this, moniker, the name of our show, of Fully Engaged, right? Obviously that started from the two of us getting engaged and starting that, but realizing how much more that had in all aspects of life. So I'm curious for you, like that phrase, showing up as fully engaged in life, what does that mean to you, and why do you feel it's so important? You're going to give some advice to people listening.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm somebody who I believe like wholeheartedly that I want to be the best version of myself, no matter what, right? And it's going to look different every single day. And the people who I surround myself with are my tribe. And I get to be fully engaged with those people that I'm, all in with. And I believe in being a good human and doing the work and being accountable, and having the ability to know yourself is being fully engaged with yourself is how you're going to have the best relationships. And I really do feel like human beings in and of itself. Like we have so many challenges in life as it is. But if you can find your person, you know, your best friend, even if it's
a little bit easier.
yeah, like when you're mad and you're just angry or things aren't going your way. And, you know, even yesterday I called him. This is being fully engaged, right? Is I called him and I was just like, I'm just having a hard day and I miss you. And he came home, you know, and it's
So sweet. And that's something Connor would do. And when he first started doing that, I was like, are you for real?
For Connor and I, just we're such great friends.
but it matters, you know, like being able to have no matter what, know that somebody has your back,
Yeah.
that somebody's gonna be there for you.
Anchor.
Yeah, your anchor, like through the highs and lows. Having really good people in my life. I have amazing people in my life that I'm all or nothing. Like you get all of me. You get the good, you get the hard, you get the challenging, you get all of me. It's not just like the fluffy rainbows and butterflies.
The light and the dark.
Yeah,
Every single part of you.
yeah, you get all of me and I get all of you. And that's what creates a good, you know, human society.
Yeah.
So
She just said rainbows and butterflies. I think Romeo just made a little appearance. One of them wouldn't have been enough, but the fact that you said rainbow and butterflies, the two symbols of Romeo that we use, like he was just popping in there at the end. Thanks, Kristi.
He's a very active person.
Right from it, he asked this question a little shifted for you. We didn't even get into your professional success, but you have been, like I said in the intro, you've been in the multi-level space building some incredible things. And I mean, have had literally tens of thousands or maybe hundreds, I don't know, of people that have looked up to you, that you've motivated. And where I think you speak in your most power is when people are in a rough time, when they're struggling, when they're down on themselves or things aren't working out, and you've been there, like you said in your 30s. I know that part of your story. What advice would you give to people there, and what would you tell them to get back?
Man, that's a great question. I think you're spot on in the fact that I recognize it. I recognize that life is life, on a lot of people. The same way it's life on me, right? But I think as humans, we hold it in. We think we're strong enough to just hold it in, and I've got this, and I got this figured out. And you brought up a thing like, why is this so messy and all that kind of stuff? Well, my grandpa told me, make your messy your message. And so if I don't open my mouth, if I don't share what I've gone through, whether it's divorce, whether it's bankruptcy, whether it's back taxes, whether it's custody, whether it's kids out of marriage, like all of that, you know, if I can't just open my mouth and talk about that openly, because I get a lot of men and women that call me just out of the blue, like, hey, I think I'm going to get divorced and this is why. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, are you crazy? You know, because it's very just minimal. And I don't think people realize they don't see themselves far enough ahead of life of what that truly means. Like, let's be honest, we're here as fully engaged to talk about marriage and this, that, and the other. I would say that everyone in society looks at now is then there's a decay. There's a complete collapse. I always say we're taking care of our kids, just not our own. And that seems to be the case, right? And so along with that, when I can sit down with a person long enough and really look at them in their eyes and ask them hard questions that I've had to live, like, are you ready to go pick up your daughters from another man and that home and so forth, and know what that feels like? Have you ever thought about dropping them off and then knowing that you have a full week before you're going to see them again? Like, stuff gets really real, really quick because they haven't thought about that. They haven't sat in a room where the walls talk to them at night and they're all alone. And it goes for both sides. This is for women and for men. In that situation, I'm not saying everyone gets to stay together and that's how it's supposed to be. But when I see people choosing out over something really silly, like, oh, we're not really that intimate. Well, why? It's not just because you're not intimate. It's because you're not doing the work that allows you to feel close enough or feel safe enough, or trust has been broken. And how do you work through that to get back to that place to continue to build your life, right? Like, if I was to ask your parents, there's been a lot of forgiveness for many, many years, and they've never given up on each other. That's the beautiful side of a relationship that I want in my relationship with Kristi.
Right.
Because there's times in my situation where I've chosen out. I've chosen easy, where I'm like, oh, it's everyone else's fault. I call it my plum party, poor little unhappy me. And I just get to sit in my own little, and it's everyone else's fault from when I was behind in taxes, for when I was behind in child support, from when I was behind with not seeing my kids. And the second I became radically accountable, I use that word radical because I had to be. And once I did, my life's changed completely. And so I challenge people, women and men, in that situation that I don't think that a lot of their friends have ever asked them those questions or challenged them to look at it in that way.
To be
And it
cool.
wakes you up.
Yeah.
Because if you are okay with that, then yeah, you're gonna survive regardless. But I don't think people sit in that long enough to be like, holy cow, what is really going on, to the point where, can I fix it? Do I want to fix it? How do I fix it? How do I communicate? How do we get better? Because you're gonna work hard with some, right? You've got to do yours. It's not like the work's ever gonna go away in a relationship. It's not like, there's just different hards with regards to the relationship. Like when I was in my last relationship, it was addiction and it's all that kind of stuff. And it was horrible and horrific. And there are certain things that I'm glad I protected my kids against that, to where I have a really strong, powerful woman, but it doesn't mean that we have this perfect relationship.
Right.
There's a different set of hearts on blended family. And so when you can realize and choosing into, I'm going to do the work. And I remember this book I read, it was called Fire in the Belly on Becoming a Man. And there's 2 questions that he poses right from word go for us as men. Know where you're going and who's going to go with you. That's where you guys, I think Connor has a really good vision on where he's going, how he can provide, protect, and procreate. Those are 3 P's of man, right? I'm done procreating, just so everyone knows. But I still have the responsibility to provide and protect, right? And I've got to be really crystal clear on what that looks like. And then who do I choose? And this is like the first time in my life that I've chosen someone that has supported me. Not just supported me, but also added to that vision. Where every other relationship I've been in, it was difficult because I got it wrong. I chose the personal.
Right.
Then I tried to go where I was going and they didn't necessarily want that. And so if you get those flip-flopped, it's a serious problem for anybody. And so it's where are we going and who's your partner? And so we've kind of been able to realize that, where are we going, which is Naked Pineapple's a huge vision and burden. And then to collectively, we could overcome, and that's what we're committed to. We don't know what life's going to throw at us. There could be tragedy. It could be, there's things that's happened in Kristi's real life that was imposed on her, with regards to her aunt and different things. There's all types of things that we can't control, but we're going to deal with it collectively and just continue to put each other first and put the marriage as a priority. And I tell that to everyone and anyone that I come across, because most of the time, if I shut my mouth, I can't then relate. But the second I do share my messy mess, I have 50 people standing there after I speak going, hey, you did a really good job on your network marketing and just that, the other, it inspired me. But I'm more interested in how have you done this? Like, how do you overcome custody? How did you face the judges? How did you overcome taxes? How did you get out of back child support? How did you go from not seeing your kids to seeing your kids? Like, those are what people really relate to. And that's when I realized, like, holy cow, that's what this is about. This isn't about the kingdom and how much dollars I could put in my bank account. I wanted the freedom to do what I want, when I want, where I want, with who I want. And that's been kind of my focus. That's why I chose MLM. But it was realizing that I could move my groom far greater in relating to them with lifing on us collectively than me talking about how important this pill is and how important that product is and how much money you could do at this level. It was the realness of life that motivated people up, fortunately, and benefit from that, obviously, because it moves consumption and all sorts of stuff.
It's that real life stuff.
And that's a part of Naked Pineapple too, is the vulnerability, the authenticity, our core values, connection.
Pineapple.
Yeah, it's really like being confident in your naked skin and the naked truth about skincare, which is life. I mean, we wear our life all over us, and you can't hide from it. No matter how much makeup or Botox or plastic surgery you get done, like at the end of the day, like you're still yourself. And so for me, with he and I, like, that's what Naked Pineapple is about. You know, it's about bringing people together, creating opportunities to connect and unite and raise each other up and breathe life into each other. And like, that is the lifestyle that we want to continue to inspire when it comes to our legacy, our life, our children, is bringing forth something that we can all benefit from. So
Hello. And we've gone a little bit lower, like deeper than that in the layers. This is where we're really focused on teens right now. Like a teen with skincare, a teen, not just, hey, let's do a teen program. It was like, how do we affect these children that are being bombarded with technology and the speed that they have to process with, from self-image to now as a tap. Our self-image was, we hope we didn't get embarrassed at elementary school or middle school or something happened, right? There's stuff flying at these kids all day long. And so we've kind of launched this teen program to build self-confidence, self-awareness, feel confident in your naked skin. How do you use how do you use like step 1, step 2, step 3? Why do you do it that way? Because these teens are truly getting decimated in this world, and it's scary to watch. I mean, we have to literally, we talk about it all day, every day, like down to the technology that's coming in, and how do you get them off the phone? You see young kids at 3 years old at a dinner table in the middle of Chili's, and it's like stick a screen in front of him, and he's got it on full blast, and as long as he's not making noise, like it's okay. And I'm like, no, this is what I heard once, and it had this biggest impact on me like 3 years ago. It says, parenting's tough if you want to be a good parent. And you look at the world today, it's really simple to be a horrible parent. And I mean horrible. If you're okay just letting that kid or on that screen, sitting there in silence for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and you can't even connect to it. That's easy. I can do that all day long. What's hard is saying, hey, honey, you see your screen time. Let's go out. Let's play. Let's connect. Tell me about your day. What's going on here? Holding them to a standard, giving them chores. Like those are the real things. And I think that's more needed in the world today. So that's what we're focused on with our teen program that we're adding to it as well.
I love it. Well, I think they know where they're headed. We know where we're headed. We're going together. They're going together. I love it. It's all right. I guess we need to go back. You know, his whole, you got to know where you're going, and you got to know who you're going with.
we're going to Hawaii.
I love it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, hey, thanks so much for sharing your messy mess, to use your words, with us. And I think you're right. As you share that's what we're doing, right? Like your mess, in some ways, it's your message, it's your story, it's your experience. And the moment you open your mouth and share, that's when you allow others in to be able to have those moments. So thank you for doing that. I hope you have more than 50 people reach out to you, because this is going to be all over the place. But hope it helps. Thank you so much to our audience. I appreciate you giving them a round of applause. Thank you.